Hello and welcome back. We're going to continue our look at different tools that Google Docs offers. So let's get started with something called Explore. Explore simply opens up a search window on the right and includes several sections. There's topics, there's images, there's related searches. So let's go up to the search bar itself. And I'll just search for assessment. And good. Now I'm going to get the Merriam-Webster's definition, a Wikipedia entry, or several. I can see all results in Google if I click on this. That's going to open up a new tab for me and just start the search. If I click on the second link, I'm going to get images. If I click on the third link, I'm going to get a search of my drive, actually. Okay, so a little tool for doing multiple types of search directly from Google Docs. Now, of course, I could do my search, simply open up a new tab and do it in Google if I wanted, but that's one option. The next option for research would be to define. And that just carries out a search that brings you back a definition of the word you're looking for. So that can be pretty handy. Close that up. Next tool is called a document outline. It will simply open a pane on the left, and it will allow me to navigate through my document by clicking the links on the left. And of course, these are set to the various headings that we've defined under styles. Okay, that can be a handy way with a longer document. If you're scrolling up and down trying to find things, add styles to it. Add styles to define different sections, and you can use your document outline in order to navigate it. Okay, there's also a word count tool. So it'll just give me some basic stats. There are 6 pages, there are 599 words, 3,520 characters, and then if I include this, exclude the spaces, so the actual characters I've typed, there's just shy of 3,000 of those. So when your students are given a 1,000-word essay, they can have a pretty good idea of where they are in that at any time, if they're using Google Docs. Next, there's an option to translate the document. Okay, so you can simply choose a language. I'll translate this into Albanian. And what it will do is it will do the translation for you as a separate document. So it's not going to affect this original document in any way. I still have this, but it'll just make me a copy, and it will give it a name, translated copy. And it will do its best to translate it into another language. If you have any experience with translation programs in general, you know that you can't depend on them to be perfect. If you were to translate this and send it out to someone who spoke the language very well, they may well come back to you and say there are these errors in it. But if you have somebody who's willing to do that, it's a great way to start a document and then be able to have someone make just final edits to it to clean it up. So while not perfect, a powerful tool. Okay, there's a script editor, which we're not going to look at. You'd have to be a programmer to use it. It's a way you could write your own extensions or add-ons to do things that Google Docs does not currently do, but you need skills in that area. There is a personal dictionary, and let's take a look at that one more time. So I can add to the personal dictionary either directly or by going to Tools Spelling. And when I first run into the word, it's identified here, so I'll simply add that to the personal dictionary. And you can see that when it's referenced later, it's no longer identified as a spelling mistake either. Now the other way to get to the Personal Dictionary is to go to Tools, Personal Dictionary, and you can see that smart stuff is in there. You can also see smart thingies, whatever, and I add that. Now notice I've got a certain capitalization there, but it's not going to honor that, so I'm going to have to watch for the capitalization myself with anything like this. I need to save it, and then those things are in my Personal Dictionary. Two more tools we haven't looked at. One is voice typing that we're going to do in a totally separate video. It's just a way of using a microphone in order to enter your content. And it works fairly well, but you have to learn how to use it. So there is a learning curve involved in doing that. I don't think that's the method that I prefer to enter my text generally, but it's a good option for those students who may have a lot of difficulty in using a keyboard or entering text. And the last one we're going to cover in this video is preferences. And if you go into preferences, they're listed up at the top. The first is use smart quotes. So if that's unchecked, you're going to get those very straight vertical quotes, where if you leave it checked, you'll get those little curvy quotes, which are nice. Should it automatically detect hyperlinks? So if something is in there that it can determine because of the way it's formatted, it's a hyperlink, do you want it to make it a hyperlink? And generally the answer is yes. Not always. You can always shut it off. Do you want it to automatically detect lists? So try to figure out when you're making a list and format it as such. And then automatic substitution. This is generally used to insert special symbols. So this is a copyright symbol, a registration mark. You can see that you can type a fraction this way, but you want it to appear different. And those special symbols are listed here. You can add more. Here's a trademark down at the bottom, or a percent sign, which is nice. So these are some things that may be a little more difficult or arduous to get. You can get them in another way, but this will just speed the process. So let's look at how to enter one. You can see that the copyright symbol is an open parenthesis, a C, and a closed parenthesis. So the first thing to know is that you don't want to append them to the end of another word. You want to have a space. And then when you hit a space at the end, it'll convert for you. Now if I really wanted that right up against it, I could take that other space out. If I try to do that pattern right at the end of the word, it's unlikely to get it, frankly. Now one other use you can make of it, of this particular tool under preferences, if you see that my Personal Dictionary words have been added here. And you can see that they're added. This particular one is a misspelling of activities that I tend to do. It's just as I'm typing, I tend to miss the last I, fat fingers or whatever. And this is the correct version. So if I do make this mistake, and for some reason I make it somewhat frequently, it'll automatically substitute and I won't have to catch it in a spell check. That being said, there are some kind of dangers to just cluttering this space up with thousands of things that you may not type well. But if it's a couple, and if it's something you do fairly consistently, you could do that. If I don't want to do that, I have two options. I could uncheck it, meaning basically just for now don't do the substitution, or I could just eliminate it from here altogether. Now the other option is this smart stuff. Perhaps I write about this all the time and I don't want to type it out. The other option is I can just put something on this side, even though it's in the dictionary under smart stuff. I'm just going to put SSTFF. I don't know that that's a huge savings, but let's say that it is. And if I type that, it will make that substitution for me. Now the only way I can really see using this is if I made long or relatively long comments to students on a regular basis and they were consistent. I guess I could try to spoof the system a little bit and save myself some time typing there. But know that it's available whether you choose to use it or not. And that really concludes our tour of the different tools available in Google Docs, or at least the tools available by defaults. We see the video on add-ons to see how to expand a capability, and the voice typing tutorial, as I said, we'll cover in another video.